The message came without warning. It was not a letter, not a voice, not even an image of a living face. It was a wall of sound and light that swept across human space like a silent wave. On every ship, in every city, and on every colony world, people stopped what they were doing when the signal appeared. The skies of Earth shimmered with the sudden presence of a great golden emblem. The same symbol appeared above the oceans of Europa, over the domes of Mars, and in the skies of a dozen other worlds. It was the crest of the Galactic Council. For many humans, the crest was something they had only heard of in old stories told by long-distance traders. The Council was said to be the oldest political body in known space, a union of alien species so advanced and so powerful that they had not been challenged for 1,000 years. In every story, the Council demanded tribute from weaker civilizations. Those who gave in were allowed to live under its rules. Those who refused were said to vanish from the stars forever. When the voice began to speak, it was cold and steady, without a trace of emotion. It did not speak in any human language at first. It spoke in a deep, rolling tongue that no one could understand. Then, as if to make its point perfectly clear, it switched to the common trade language that every spacefaring people used. This is the will of the Galactic Council. Humanity is hereby ordered to send tribute in the form of 1/10 of your total yearly resources, 1/10 of your total population for service in the Council fleets, and 1/10 of your total technology archives. The first tribute is to be sent within 30 planetary rotations of your primary world. Refusal will bring destruction to your species. This is the decree of the Council. The voice faded. The golden crest burned for a few moments more, then dissolved into the dark of space. Across the colonies, silence followed. People looked to one another, unsure what to think. On the trading docks of Ceres Station, merchants froze with goods still in their hands. On the agricultural rings of Luna, workers stared up at the message still playing on small delay screens. On Earth itself, the great cities buzzed with a mix of disbelief and anger. In the capital city, the United Earth Council called an emergency session. The chamber was built in a circle, with tiered seats that rose like a spiral. Screens hung high above, showing the message on repeat for those who had not yet seen it. Around the chamber, leaders from every colony and settlement had joined through secure holographic links. Some looked calm, some looked pale, and some wore expressions of open fury. The Secretary General, an older man named Aaron, sat at the center table. He had seen many political storms, but this was unlike any he had faced before. The Council's demand was not a negotiation. It was an order. A representative from Mars spoke first. "We cannot hope to stand against the combined fleets of the Council. Our best course is to comply and preserve our people." "From the Luna agricultural rings," another voice answered sharply. "Comply, and we will never be free again. They will take what they want year after year until nothing remains of us but a name in some alien archive." The room filled with overlapping arguments. Some warned of annihilation. Others spoke of dignity and independence. A scientist from Europa's research colonies reminded them of history, human history. Humanity had endured invasions, disasters, and even near extinction in ages past. Each time they had found a way to rise again. Yet this was different. The Galactic Council was not a single enemy with one weakness to exploit. It was an alliance of many worlds, each with fleets larger than anything humanity had ever seen. Aaron listened, letting the storm of voices run its course. When the noise began to fade, he spoke. "We must first understand the council. They have ruled for centuries, not through constant war, but through fear. They demand tribute, and most obey without question. Why do they want 1/10 of our people? 1/10 of our resources, 1/10 of our knowledge, because each 10th taken makes the next demand easier. This is not about one payment. It is about taking from us until there is nothing left worth taking." A heavy silence fell over the chamber. From the far edge of the circle, a voice spoke up. It was low, steady, and carried a weight that silenced even those who had been whispering to each other. The speaker was General Mara, an officer with more years of service than most of the council members had in age. She had commanded defense fleets in the outer systems and had seen skirmishes with raiders, pirates, and even rogue alien warbands. "The council has made their move," she said. "Now they are waiting to see if we are like the others. They expect fear. They expect us to send them our ships, our young, and our knowledge. And when we do, they will decide how much more they can take. That is how they have ruled for centuries. If we give in, we will not survive as ourselves. We will become something else, something weaker." One of the Martian delegates leaned forward. "And what if we resist, General? We cannot match their fleets in numbers. They have weapons we have not even seen." Mara's eyes were steady. "Numbers and weapons do not win wars alone. Resolve wins wars, and we have more resolve than they can imagine." Her words stirred something in the chamber. Even those who had argued for compliance began to consider the idea that surrender might not save them. Still, there was no agreement. Some wanted to prepare for war. Others wanted to send a partial tribute to buy time. A few still urged full compliance. Arun looked around the circle. "We have 30 planetary rotations before their deadline. We will use every one of them. But first, we must decide on our response. If we speak, it must be with one voice." He turned to Mara. "You have been quiet until now. If you could send one message to the Galactic Council, what would it be?" Mara did not hesitate. "I would send them one word. No more, no less." The chamber fell silent again. Some looked shocked. Others looked almost relieved. The idea was bold, almost reckless, yet it carried a certain clarity. Aaron did not answer right away. He let the weight of the word hang in the air. Outside the chamber, the stars burned cold and silent, as if waiting for humanity's choice. The next morning, the great chamber of the United Earth Council was quieter than usual. The previous day's storm of voices had given way to a heavier silence. Now the delegates were listening, not arguing. In the center of the chamber, a wide, holographic display shimmered to life. A historian named Rafi stood before it. He had been summoned not for opinion, but for knowledge. Rafi was not a soldier, not a politician, and not a diplomat. He was a keeper of records, one of the few who had studied the long history of the Galactic Council in detail. "The council began," Rafi said, "long before humans first left their homeworld. At that time, there were only a handful of spacefaring species. They met by accident, not by choice, and their first meetings led to war. That war lasted for centuries, until both sides realized that constant fighting left them weak. They signed the first accord, which created the body we now call the Galactic Council." The hologram shifted. Images of strange ships and alien banners drifted across the display. At first, The council claimed to exist for peace. They promised that no world would be conquered as long as it obeyed the shared laws. But the laws were written by those with the most power. They declared that every new civilization must prove its worth by giving tribute. Tribute could be in resources, in soldiers, or in knowledge. The reason they give is that the council protects all members from external threats. The truth is that this tribute keeps smaller civilizations weak and unable to resist. He tapped the display. A sequence of images appeared. Broken cities, empty planets, silent ruins drifting in space. These are the ones who refused. Their names are almost forgotten now. Some fought until their fleets were gone. Some gave up after their worlds were burned. In every case, their cultures were erased. The Council does not conquer in the way humans once did. They do not leave ruins filled with survivors. They take away everything that made a people unique, until no one remembers what they once were. The delegates shifted uneasily in their seats. A few avoided looking at the display. Rafi's voice softened. I have read the stories of a world called Thalan. They were proud, independent, and trusted in their advanced weapons. When the council came, they refused tribute. The council sent a warning. Thalan refused again. They fought for 7 years, but each year their strength grew smaller. When they surrendered, the council scattered their people to distant worlds. Their language is now spoken only in my archives. To most, it does not exist at all. He let the image fade, leaving the chamber dim once more. This is what we face. The council is patient. They are vast. They have ruled for 1,000 years because they know how to crush without rushing. They will offer us one chance to obey. If we do not, they will make us a lesson to others. The room stayed silent for a moment. Then a voice from the colony of Titan spoke. If they are so patient, perhaps we can buy time. Send a small tribute now and prepare in secret. General Mara, seated near the far wall, shook her head. They will know if we are preparing. Their spies will see our ships being built, our weapons tested. A partial tribute will only make them take us less seriously. They will believe we are weak, and they will come sooner. From the Martian side of the chamber, another voice called out. But open refusal may bring them faster. They may decide to strike at once. Arun, the Secretary General, raised a hand. We are not here to decide the exact reply today. We are here to understand what we are dealing with. History tells us the Council has not been defeated in open battle for 1,000 years. But history also tells us that no one has ever refused them with full unity and preparation. That is what we must think about. The conversation turned toward strategy. The defense ministers spoke of shipyards hidden in the asteroid belt. Scientists described new shield designs and engines faster than anything the Council might expect. Traders spoke of alliances with independent worlds that had no love for the Council's rule. Even so, the mood was heavy. Every fact, every memory, every image of destroyed civilizations was like a shadow over the room. When the meeting ended, the delegates left in small groups, their voices low. Outside the chamber, the capital city moved as always, people walking, the streets, markets open, light shining from tall towers. But there was a new tension in the air, like a storm far over the horizon that no one could see, yet everyone could feel. Mara left the chamber last. She walked through the quiet corridors until she reached the balcony that overlooked the city. Aaron stood there, his hands resting on the rail. They are afraid, he said without turning. They should be, Mara replied. Fear will make them careful. But fear must not be the only thing we give them. Auron glanced at her. You still believe in one word as our answer? I do, Mara said. The Council understands power. They have it, and they use it to control others. But there is one kind of power they do not understand. The power of a people who will not break, no matter the size of the enemy. If we send them that one word, they will understand what is coming. Aaron looked back at the city lights. And if they come in force, then we will be ready. We have no other choice. A faint wind swept across the balcony, carrying the scent of the ocean far below. The two leaders stood in silence, watching the stars emerge in the darkening sky. Somewhere out there, beyond those points of light, the Galactic Council waited for their answer. Far from Earth, on the other side of human space, the Council's high chamber met in its own great hall. The walls were made of living crystal, glowing softly with the colors of the assembled species. At the center sat the Speaker of the Council, a tall figure with silver skin and eyes like polished stone. The humans have received our demand, the Speaker said. Their first reaction will be to fear. Soon they will send tribute, as all others have done. A shorter figure, scaled like a serpent, hissed in reply. If they delay, the Speaker's eyes narrowed. Then we will remove them. It will not be difficult. They are young among the stars, and their fleets are small. None in the chamber questioned the statement. None imagined that humanity might be different from all the rest. None yet understood that the reply they would receive would not be tribute, not even a plea for more time. It would be one word. The capital city's main council chamber was brighter than before, though the mood inside was far from light. A day had passed since the historian's report. Delegates from every world under human control had returned, bringing fresh ideas, concerns, and demands from their own people. Screens around the chamber displayed each colony's representative in real time. Mars, Luna, Titan, Europa, Ceres, and dozens of smaller outposts all appeared as glowing images, each ready to speak. Aaron, the Secretary General, stood at the center once again. We have 28 planetary rotations before the deadline, he began. We cannot waste them on repeating the same fears. We must decide how to answer the Council. A voice from Titan spoke first. The representative was a tall man with pale skin from years under the moon's dim light. My people believe we must send part of the tribute, not all. Enough to buy time. We can use that time to build ships and weapons. From Mars came a sharp reply. The Martian delegate, a woman in a deep red uniform, leaned forward. If we send anything, the Council will see it as weakness. They will take it as the first step toward full control. Several voices began speaking at once. Some called for full refusal, others for limited payment, and a few for complete compliance. The sound grew until it became a tangled noise of overlapping arguments. General Mara rose from her seat. She did not raise her voice, yet the noise faded quickly. We are speaking as if the Council does not already know our choices, she said. They know we will argue. They know fear will divide us. They have seen this in countless other civilizations. What they have not seen is a people who choose unity before the first shot is fired. The Luna representative asked, And what if unity means surrender? Is survival not better than destruction? Mara looked directly at him. Survival without freedom is only another form of destruction. You can live as a shadow of yourself, or you can stand and fight as who you truly are." Her words made the chamber quiet again. Aaron turned toward the scientific delegation. "You have been working on our defenses. Speak now." A scientist from Europa's research station stepped forward. She carried a small, cube-shaped device that glowed faintly. "We have made progress on stealth systems for our ships. These can hide our movements from most scanning technology. We also have improved long-range missile systems that can strike without warning. But these are not yet in mass production." "How long to produce them?" Aaron asked. "If every shipyard works without pause, perhaps 9 months. If we had more resources, less time." Mara crossed her arms. "9 months is too long. We must find ways to delay the council." A merchant representative from Ceres spoke up. "There are worlds beyond council control. Traders, miners, independent stations. They do not love the council, but they fear them. If we can promise them protection or fair trade, some may join us quietly." This idea brought murmurs through the chamber. Building alliances could give humanity extra strength, but it would also risk alerting the council sooner. Aaron considered the risk. "It may be worth it. If we can gather enough allies, the council will not face only us. They will face a force large enough to make them hesitate." A voice from Mars spoke again. "Hesitation is not enough. They must believe they will lose if they fight us." The debate turned toward strategy. Plans were drawn on glowing screens. Hidden shipyards in asteroid fields, supply routes through uncharted space, training centers built on remote moons. Each idea carried both promise and danger. Through it all, Mara watched in silence, speaking only when needed. She was thinking not only of ships and weapons, but of the message itself. The one word she believed should be humanity's answer. When the plans were paused for a short break, Aaron approached her. "You have not given your full plan," he said quietly. Mara shook her head. "Because they are not ready to hear it. The truth is that no matter how many ships we build, no matter how many allies we find, the council will still be stronger. Our advantage will be in something they cannot measure: willpower. We must show them from the first moment that we will not bow." "And the one word?" Arun asked. "It is more than a word," Mara said. "It is a promise. When they hear it, they must believe it with no doubt." Across the galaxy, in the high chamber of the Galactic Council, the speaker met with his advisors. The crystal walls shone with shifting colors as each alien voice gave its report. "The humans have not replied," the serpent-like advisor said. "They argue among themselves. It will not take long before they choose the safer path." Another advisor with a body like flowing mist added, "Their fleets are small, their weapons are older than ours. We can crush them in a single campaign." The speaker raised a hand. "Then we will wait for their answer. If they send tribute, we will take it. If they refuse, we will strike, and the other worlds will see what becomes of those who resist." None in the chamber questioned him. To them, humanity was only another name to be recorded in the archives of lost civilizations. Back on Earth, the debate continued for hours. By nightfall, the delegates agreed on one thing only. They would meet again the next day with final proposals. No one yet knew what the reply to the council would be. No one, except Mara. That night, She stood on the balcony of the military command building, looking at the sky. The stars were bright, and somewhere among them the council's fleets drifted in silence. She imagined them moving, gathering, preparing to strike. She imagined the sound of their weapons and the fear they would try to spread. And then she imagined the moment when humanity's message would reach them. A single word sent across the endless dark. A word that could not be misunderstood. She whispered it to herself, feeling the weight of it. No. The chamber of the United Earth Council was silent when the session began. The delegates had returned from their worlds with final instructions from their governments. It was time to decide what humanity would send to the Galactic Council. Arun stood at the center table, his face calm but his eyes sharp. Around him, the holographic images of every representative flickered into focus. Mars, Luna, Titan, Europa, Ceres, and the rest were all present. Today, Aaron began, we give our answer. There will be no more debate after this. Our message will be sent before the end of the rotation. A representative from Titan rose first. We will support the position of sending a partial tribute as a way to buy more time for our defenses. From Mars came an immediate reply. We reject any tribute, partial or full. We believe the only answer is refusal. Several other colonies voiced their positions, some agreeing with Titan, others with Mars. The chamber was once again on the edge of falling into the same arguments as before until General Mara stepped forward. She looked at each delegate one by one. I have listened to every plan, every fear, and every hope you have spoken. I have fought enough battles to know that no plan survives the first strike. The Council's fleets will outnumber ours. Their weapons will be stronger. But we have one thing they do not, the will to stand together. That will begin with the answer we send. The Luna representative frowned. And your answer is still one word? Yes, Mara said. It is not just a word. It is a statement that tells them we will not surrender. Not now. Not ever. The chamber grew quiet again. Aaron turned to the Mars delegate. If this word is to be our answer, it must be sent by the voice of the entire human race. Can your government support it? The Mars delegate nodded slowly. We can. One by one, the other representatives gave their replies. Some hesitated, but in the end, all agreed. For the first time since the Council's demand had arrived, every human world stood on the same side. Aaron activated the central communication console. The device was connected directly to the deep-range transmitter that could send a message across light years in seconds. The words they spoke would be heard in the Council's high chamber. He looked to Mara. General, you speak for us. Mara stepped to the console. She did not write a speech. She did not prepare a long list of reasons. She simply leaned forward and spoke into the transmitter. No, the console's lights pulsed as the message left Earth. It crossed the space between stars, carried by invisible waves through the cold and silent dark. In less than a minute, it reached the Galactic Council's seat of power. Far away, the Council's high chamber was filled with light as the human message arrived. The speaker himself stood to receive it, expecting a long plea or a formal agreement to pay tribute. Instead, a single word echoed through the hall. No. The sound was clear, unshaken, and without hesitation. The chamber fell silent. The serpent-like advisor coiled in displeasure. They refuse outright. They do not even bargain. The figure of flowing mist swirled in agitation. It is arrogance. They will regret it. The speaker's silver eyes narrowed. They have made their choice. Now they will learn the cost. But even as he spoke, there was a hint of something else in his voice. It was not fear, but it was not certainty either. Humanity's answer had been unlike any the Council had received in generations. Back on Earth, the chamber was quiet after the message was sent. The delegates knew there was no going back now. Arun addressed them. Our message is sent. The Council will see this as a challenge. They will respond. Perhaps sooner than we expect. From this moment, every human world must prepare. The Mars delegate spoke with a steady voice. We have already begun. Shipyards on Phobos and Deimos are working at full capacity. From Europa, the scientist who had presented the stealth systems said, "Our production has doubled since last week. We are testing new prototypes now." The Titan representative added, "Civilian shelters are being built in the underground cities. Supplies are being stored for long-term use." Mara listened to each report. She knew preparation alone would not be enough. The first strike from the Council would be meant to crush human morale. It was essential that humanity survive that strike, and strike back hard enough to make the Council hesitate. Outside the chamber, news of the one-word message spread quickly. On Earth, people gathered in public squares to watch the official announcement. On Mars, miners cheered in the red dust. On Titan, children wrote the word on walls and windows. Across the colonies, the simple message became a banner of unity. For the first time, humanity was not arguing among itself. It was preparing together. In the days that followed, shipyards ran without pause. Engineers worked through sleepless nights. Pilots trained in every available simulator. Scientists tested new weapons and defenses. Traders quietly reached out to independent worlds, offering trade and protection in exchange for future aid. And far away in the hidden reaches of human-controlled space, small fleets began to disappear from known shipping routes. Their locations were kept secret, known only to a few. In the high chamber of the Galactic Council, the speaker met again with his advisors. "They mean to fight," the serpent-like advisor said. "Yes," the speaker replied, "and they will. Learn that no one defies the Council and survives." The advisor made a slow movement with his coils. "Shall we send the fleet now?" "Not yet," the speaker said. "We will gather a force so great that no human will believe they can resist. Then we will strike, and we will make them a warning to every world in the galaxy." The Council's fleets began to assemble in deep space, vast formations of warships moving like shadows among the stars. Back on Earth, Mara stood on a quiet observation deck, looking toward the black horizon of space. She knew the Council's ships would come. She also knew they would not find a helpless target. Humanity had spoken with one voice. The answer had been simple, but the meaning was as strong as steel. No. And now the real test was about to begin. The Council did not take long to act. Within 2 weeks of receiving humanity's refusal, a fleet was dispatched toward human space. Officially, it was called a reconnaissance force, but every ship in the formation was armed for war. It was not meant to negotiate. It was meant to make an example. The fleet consisted of 12 heavy warships, each larger than the biggest human battleship, escorted by twice as many smaller attack vessels. They moved in perfect formation, silent and steady, cutting through the darkness between the stars. From their seat of power, the Speaker of the Galactic Council gave a simple order to the fleet commander. Enter human space. Remove their defenses. Bring back proof of their submission. Back in the Sol system, General Mara received word from human intelligence agents who had been tracking Council movements through independent traders. The moment she saw the fleet's path, she knew this was not a scouting mission. They are coming to test us, she told Arun during a private meeting. If we let them pass unchallenged, the real invasion will follow at full strength. Arun leaned over the table, studying the holographic display of the incoming ships. We cannot match their firepower directly. What is your plan? Do not meet them head-on, Mara said. We disappear. We let them think they are entering an empty system. Then, when they are deep inside, we strike from all sides. The plan was risky. It required every human ship in the region to vanish from scanners while staying close enough to attack when the moment came. In the asteroid belt, hidden among drifting rocks, human warships powered down their main engines and cloaked their heat signatures. In the shadow of Jupiter, missile platforms floated silently, their weapons locked on the space where the Council fleet would arrive. Near Mars, fighter wings waited inside camouflaged hangars, ready to launch at a single command. When the Council fleet crossed the edge of human space, their scanners detected nothing unusual. They moved forward, confident and unhurried. The commander of the Council fleet, a tall insect-like being named Varric, addressed his officers. Humans hide, but they cannot hide forever. We will find their stations and destroy them. As the EI fleet moved deeper into the system, it split into two groups. One headed toward Mars, the other toward the asteroid belt. That was exactly what Mara had been waiting for. From her command ship hidden near Ceres, she gave the order. Phase 1. Begin. In the asteroid belt, massive chunks of rock suddenly came to life as hidden thrusters fired, sending them drifting into the path of the Council ships. The alien vessels moved to avoid collision, and in that moment, the first human missiles launched. Dozens of warheads streaked out from the shadows, hitting the Council ships before they could raise full defenses. One heavy warship vanished in a burst of light, and another spun out of formation with its engines crippled. Before the Council could regroup, swarms of human fighters emerged from hidden hangars in the belt. They darted between the asteroids, striking and vanishing before the larger alien ships could target them. On the Mars approach, the second group of Council ships faced its own surprise. The planet's orbital defenses had been powered down to appear inactive, but now they came to life in a blaze of energy fire. Mars-based railguns launched projectiles at near-light speed, piercing the shields of two smaller Council ships. From the Martian surface, more fighters launched into the battle, weaving through enemy fire with unpredictable movements. Human pilots relied on quick changes in speed and direction, a style of combat the Council was not used to facing. Within the first 10 minutes of the ambush, 4 Council ships were destroyed, 3 more heavily damaged. Varric tried to rally his forces, ordering them to focus fire on the largest human vessels. But each time they targeted a ship, it slipped away into the asteroid field or disappeared behind Mars, only to strike again from a different angle. "This is not possible," one of his officers hissed. "They are too fast for their size." Varric ignored the comment. He knew the truth. It was not just speed. It was planning. The humans had prepared for this fight. After 30 minutes of battle, Varric ordered a retreat. The surviving Council ships broke formation and fled toward the edge of human space, their engines burning hard. Human ships did not chase them. Mara had given strict orders. The goal was not to destroy the entire fleet, but to send a message. When? The last alien ship vanished into the dark. The human fleet emerged from hiding. Cheers erupted over the communication channels, but Mara's voice cut through the noise. Do not celebrate too early. This was only the first wave. The real fight will come soon. Back on Earth, news of the victory spread faster than the Council's. Ships could escape. In cities and settlements across the colonies, people celebrated in the streets. The word "No" was painted on walls, banners, and even ships. The first real battle with the Council had ended in a human victory. Far away, in the Council's high chamber, the speaker received Varric's report in grim silence. When the recording of the battle played, the chamber's walls glowed with shifting colors that reflected the unease of its members. The serpent-like advisor spoke first. They should not have been able to defeat a fleet of that size. The mist-like advisor added, they used the terrain. They hid their ships. They fought like no one we have faced before. The speaker's voice was cold. They have made themselves dangerous. We will send the full force of the Council against them. Some members shifted uneasily. A full force. Assault was costly, and there was always the chance of heavy losses. But no one dared speak against the speaker. The order was given. Across the galaxy, the largest fleets of the Council began to gather. On Earth, Mara stood in the war room, staring at a star map marked with the probable routes of the coming invasion. She knew the next battle would not be fought in ambush. The Council would arrive ready for anything. But she also knew something else. Humanity had shown the galaxy that they could fight the most powerful force in known space and win. The first moves had been made. The game was now in motion, and neither side could turn back. The Council was angry. The first attempt to subdue humanity had failed. One fleet was destroyed, another had barely escaped, and the speaker's advisors were growing uneasy. They could not believe that a species so small and young could outmaneuver forces that had conquered countless worlds across the galaxy. But disbelief would not stop the Council. Across the stars, fleets began to assemble in record time. Ships larger than cities, armed with weapons that could destroy planets, gathered. In strategic formations, every world controlled by the Council contributed soldiers, engineers, and ships. Back in the Sol system, General Mara watched the reports arrive. The sheer size of the fleet was staggering. Hundreds of ships, each capable of obliterating a human. City in seconds were moving toward Earth and the colonies. Aaron stood beside her, his face tense. This is more than we imagined. Can we survive this? Mara shook her head. Survive? Yes. Win? Only if we use every advantage we have. They expect a direct battle. We will give them something else. The plan was simple but dangerous. Humanity would not meet the Council fleet in open space. Instead, they would draw the enemy into locations carefully prepared for defense. Mining colonies, asteroid belts, and the shadowed edges of planets would become traps. Across the colonies, human ships moved into position. Civilians were evacuated from high-risk areas. Starfighters trained in new maneuvers, and hidden weapons platforms were activated. Every resource, every soldier, every scientist worked with a single purpose: to survive and fight back. The Council fleet entered the system. The ships glowed under the light of the sun as they spread into an intimidating formation. From the main, "Command vessel," Varric spoke, his voice carrying across the communication channels. "Humanity, surrender now. Any resistance will be destroyed." Mara's voice was calm but firm. "No." The Council commander's eyes narrowed. The same word they had received weeks ago, simple and defiant. Then the battle began. As the largest ships approached Earth, human fighters launched from hidden bases. They struck quickly, firing energy beams that disabled shields and engines on the smaller Council ships. The aliens were prepared for a conventional battle, but humans were unpredictable. In the asteroid belt, Mara's engineers activated automated mining platforms. Giant drills and heavy projectiles crashed into the Council ships, forcing them to scatter. Fighter wings darted among the debris, striking where the enemy was weakest. Mars was equally prepared. Orbital defense stations opened fire with rapid bursts of energy, hitting ships before they could reach the surface. Human ships appeared from behind the planet, ambushing attackers who thought Mars was lightly defended. The Council fleet was larger, stronger, and armed with weapons capable of immense destruction. But humans had one advantage: creativity and unity. Every trap, every diversion, every strike had been planned to force the enemy into vulnerable positions. The Council fleet tried to adjust. Varric ordered his ships to regroup, forming a wedge to break through human defenses. But the humans had already anticipated this. From Titan, Mara had a team monitoring communications and enemy maneuvers. "They are trying to divide us," she said. "Do not let them. Keep the lines tight." The battle raged for hours. Explosions lit up the darkness of space. Ships vanished in fireballs. Missiles streaked past with deadly accuracy. Yet humans did not retreat. They moved in unison, striking, hiding, and striking again. One Council ship, the largest in the fleet, attempted to bombard Earth directly. Mara had prepared for this. From hidden platforms in the asteroid belt, a swarm of human missiles launched, simultaneously hitting the massive ship from all sides. Its shields failed under the combined assault, and it broke apart, sending fragments into the surrounding ships. The destruction caused chaos among the Council forces. Ships collided, shields failed, and commanders struggled to maintain order. For the first time, they realized that humanity was not just surviving, it was fighting back with skill and determination. Varric could not believe what he saw. "They should not be able to resist. They are too small, too weak." One of his officers replied, "Commander, their tactics are unlike anything we have faced. They are unpredictable and coordinated. They are learning faster than we can react." Varric clenched his mandibles in frustration. "Then we adapt. Increase firepower. Target the command vessels first. Destroy their leaders." But the humans had anticipated this too. Command ships were disguised or hidden, and the real leaders moved among the fleet, directing operations while appearing vulnerable. Every time the Council tried to strike decisively, humans countered with new maneuvers. By the second day of battle, the Council fleet was taking heavy losses. The speaker, watching from the high chamber, could not believe the reports. Ships he expected to crush humanity were being destroyed at an alarming rate. The mist-like advisor swirled in agitation. "They are clever beyond measure. This is not a species that surrenders." The serpent-like advisor hissed. "We have underestimated them. We must call for reinforcements or risk total failure. Back in the Sol system, Mara observed the Council ships retreating slightly. She knew this was only temporary. The Council would not give up easily. But humanity had done something important. It had proven that it could fight the mightiest force in known space and survive. Arun turned to her. We have won a battle, but not the war. Mara nodded. Every victory counts. Every council, ship we force back is a lesson for them. They will respect humanity, and we will survive long enough to make them pay if they try to destroy us. Across the colonies, humans celebrated cautiously. They had seen friends and ships destroyed, but the victory gave hope. People painted the word "no" on walls and banners once more. The word was no longer just defiance. It was proof of their strength. Varric retreated to the edge of human space. His fleet was damaged, morale low, and every encounter with human ships left him with more questions than answers. He reported back to the speaker, expecting anger, but finding instead a decision that would change everything. The speaker's silver eyes were cold. They are dangerous. We cannot destroy them with normal forces. We will bring the full might of the Council. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier. Prepare for war like no other. Humanity must learn what it means to defy us. Far away, Mara studied the star map again. The Council would return, bigger, stronger, and more determined. But humanity was ready. Every ship, every soldier, every civilian contribution had been tested. Every tactic had been proven. And above all, humanity had a single word that would guide them through the coming storm. Though the Council would come again, expecting a quick victory. This time, humans were ready to show them that defiance was not weakness, it was strength. The stage was set for the final battle, one that would decide not only the fate of humanity, but the respect and fear they would command across the galaxy. The Council returned. This time, they came with every fleet they could muster. Hundreds of ships, massive and gleaming with alien technology, approached human space. Each vessel carried weapons designed to level planets. Entire star systems trembled at the thought of their power. But humanity was ready. Across the Sol system, every hidden base, every fleet, every fighter and missile platform was in position. General Mara stood on the bridge of her flagship, her eyes scanning the stars. She felt the weight of the moment, but also the strength of her people. "Arun, it is time," she said. "They believe we are small. They will learn they are wrong." Arun nodded. "We fight not just for survival, but for respect. For every human who believed we could stand." As the Council fleet entered the system, they expected an easy victory. Reports of previous skirmishes had made them cautious, but they assumed the humans could not resist the combined might of their forces. Varric, commanding the main armada, gave orders to advance directly toward Earth and the colonies. Show no mercy. They must understand that defiance brings death. The Council's first wave was enormous. Dozens of the largest warships fired weapons that could destroy moons. Energy beams streaked across the darkness, striking the outer colonies. But humans were prepared. Every city had underground bunkers, every orbital station had reinforced shields, and every planet had mobile defenses ready to strike. From Titan, Mara directed her forces. Phase 1. Divide them. Draw their attention to multiple fronts. Asteroids, previously dormant, shifted into the paths of the Council ships. Hidden fighters attacked from every angle. Human missiles rained on the fleet, striking weak points in shields and engines. The first wave of Council ships faltered, caught in traps, carefully laid over weeks. The Council adapted, but humans were unpredictable. Mara's strategy relied on misdirection. While some ships engaged the enemy head-on, others circled from hidden positions, striking when the Council least expected. Varric's fleet attempted to regroup. "Focus fire on the command ships," he ordered. "Destroy the humans' leaders, and the rest will fall." But the command ships were never where the Council expected. Mara and her team had moved constantly, using cloaking and diversion tactics. Every time the Council aimed at a target, they found it empty or protected. In the asteroid belt, human fighters led Council ships into a narrow canyon of massive rocks. Traps triggered, missiles launched from hidden silos, and automated defense. Turrets opened fire. Council ships collided with each other while trying to avoid the sudden attacks. Several of the largest vessels were destroyed in minutes. Near Mars, orbital defenses engaged the enemy with precision. Ships attempting to bombard human cities were caught in crossfire and struck repeatedly until they broke apart. Mara's forces focused on efficiency, striking only where it would cripple the enemy. The battle stretched across the Sol system, with explosions lighting the darkness. The Council fleet, though massive, could not move as freely. Human ingenuity, preparation, and unity turned the overwhelming numbers into a disadvantage for the attackers. Even the fastest Council ships struggled to keep up with human fighters. The pilots moved unpredictably, striking from unexpected directions, and vanishing before retaliation. Every maneuver, every attack, had been studied and improved from previous encounters. Humans learned quickly and adapted faster than their enemy could predict. Varric watched in disbelief. They should not be able to resist. "We are the strongest force in the galaxy. How can they stand against us?" One of his officers whispered. "Commander, it is not just strength. They fight together. Every human acts as one. They are not afraid to sacrifice for each other. That makes them stronger than our fleets." Varric's mandibles clicked in frustration. "Then we change tactics. Target their supply lines, destroy their colonies, break their spirit." But the humans had anticipated this too. Supplies were hidden, decoys created, and civilian populations evacuated. Every potential Council strategy was countered. By the second day, the Council fleet was losing heavily. Hundreds of ships were destroyed or crippled. Council soldiers, who had never faced such resistance, began to fear for their own survival. The word "no," painted across human worlds, had become a symbol of defiance, courage, and skill. From her flagship, Mara addressed all human forces. "We have fought well. The Council expects fear. They will find strength. Every human, every ship, every planet contributes to our defense. We must continue. We must show them that defiance is not weakness, it is power." Her words inspired everyone. Fighters flew with renewed determination. Ground forces manned hidden defenses. Scientists ensured weapons and ships remained in perfect condition. Every part of humanity worked as one. On the third day, the Council attempted a final assault. The largest ships fired with full power, aiming to destroy Earth and the colonies. Mara had expected this. Human forces allowed the enemy to advance into carefully designed kill zones. Missiles, energy beams, and fighters struck from all directions. Ships collided. Energy shields failed. The Council's largest vessels were destroyed. Varric saw the retreat. Fall back! Regroup! This is impossible! The council could not believe it. A small, young species had fought them to a standstill and destroyed hundreds of their ships. Their arrogance, their belief that might alone could crush humanity, had failed. In the council high chamber, the speaker received reports. For the first time. There was silence. Then the serpent-like advisor spoke, voice trembling. They have done what should be impossible. Humanity has survived. They have fought with skill and unity no one could have predicted. The speaker's silver eyes glowed. Let it be known across the galaxy, humanity is no longer a species to be taken lightly. We will retreat for now. But the lesson has been learned. Respect the defiance of a species that will not bow. Ball. In the Sol system, Mara and Arun watched the remaining council ships flee. Humanity had won. They had defended their worlds, defeated the largest fleet in the galaxy, and earned respect from forces that believed only strength mattered. People cheered on Earth, on Mars, on Titan, and on every colony. The word "no" became a symbol not of rebellion, but of courage, intelligence, and unity. Humanity had shown that it could face any challenge, stand together, and overcome what seemed impossible. Mara looked at Arun. We have survived. We have won. But the galaxy will never forget this day. They will know that humans do not submit. They do not surrender. They fight. Arun smiled. Yes, one word, one simple word. But it has changed everything. The fleets of humanity regrouped, ready to rebuild and strengthen. The colonies repaired. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, and every human knew the truth. They had proven themselves to the galaxy. The Council may return someday, but humanity had learned a lesson the universe would never forget. Intelligence, courage, unity, and the refusal to bow could overcome any force, no matter how large or powerful. Across the stars, the legend of the word "no" spread. It became a story of hope, of strength, and of a species that refused to be intimidated. Humanity had stood against the greatest power in known space and had triumphed. The galaxy had a new truth. Humans did not surrender. Humans did not submit. Humans were unstoppable, and one word had said it all: no.